Yes, in the interview with Rock Bottom Radio and YouTube channel, Brendan Bliss and John Harway.
Yep.
Yeah, you are the keyboard player, you are the bass player and singer.
Yes.
Yes, great to have you. So how is the run of the tour so far, and how is the new material from True Rockers accepted by the audience?
I think it's going really good. Tour's been a lot of fun. I think that the audience has been really receptive to our new stuff. We've had some really good shows, and we're pretty happy with the way things have been going so far.
And the new material, do the fans...
Going great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really good.
we haven't really run into any problems. All of our shows have been really good.
Yeah, I believe. And yeah, you're a special guest of Blackstone Cherry, and you played several tours as a special guest. For example, Nickelback, Billy Talent, Deep Purple, and some others.
Yes.
So are there fans in the audience today who come just because of you? Today, do you have your own fan base today?
I think a little bit, yes. I think there's a lot of crossover between Blackstone Cherry fans and our fans. But I do think we've noticed at the last few shows there were definitely some Monster Truck fans coming, telling us they're only here to see us. But I think it's a pretty good mix of bands to be together.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, you did some headliner shows, I guess, last year. Is that right? And how were the reactions on you? Is it much better than being a support, or how would you see it?
I think it's good either way. If you can headline, that's great. So, we plan on doing another headline early spring next year. So, or late spring.
Yeah. April, May, we're going to come back for a headline, I think.
Yeah.
To Europe.
Yeah.
Oh,
But one thing about that, though, is it's a lot harder to be a sport band in the arenas because they're so big and there's so many fans that have never heard you before. And maybe they don't really care. So playing those support gigs obviously is a little bit harder. And of course, to play in an arena it's a very different feeling from playing in a club. So
of course,
to get used to that, those kind of support gigs are harder than ones in clubs like today. We're very used to these kind of clubs, so I would say this type of support tour is easier than an arena support tour.
Of course.
But
and probably better for us.
yes, of course. But we've also learned how to do those other arena supports, and those are fun too. So we'll take them all. And what depends on who's asking us to play.
Of course.
That's how we'll decide. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you are frequently on tour, and you were with Sit and Heavy, and the new album True Rockers is a blast again. So no fellas, just killers. So when did you compose and write all these great songs in the various legs of the recent tour, or how did you do it?
It was kind of mostly on the road.
Yeah.
Mostly on the tour. We write all the time though. So it's just you have to do it when you can. It was some spare time at home, but not much. It was a lot of just working while we were on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had rooms to do it in, it was good. We had most of the record finished by the time we got home. So yeah, it was we have to. There's no other option.
And does everybody can contribute his musical ideas to the songwriting?
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Mostly John will come up with a riff and some vocals, or maybe Jer has a riff. And then usually they kind of work something out and then bring it to the band, and then we'll demo and everyone can add in things then. But I would say it begins with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how it's always been, and it's worked out, so we want to keep the same formula going.
Okay, yes, and it's a very organic and authentic album, the new album. So, is it the spirit in the band? Is it an intact band spirit, or how would you see it? It seems like a very intact thing. You never had a change in your lineup.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes very easily to us. And we don't like to put a lot of frills on things. It doesn't really make sense. At least for this band, it didn't really make sense to us. So trying to keep it as simple and basic, and as far as sounds go and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's important for us to sound raw and like we would live. So it's I don't think it comes hard either. So it's very organic.
And True Rockers is still hard rocking, but it has more catchy elements than Sit in Heavy. So would you agree? It's a little bit more accessible.
Maybe,
so.
in some ways, yes. I mean, we're slowly growing as a band, as people and as songwriters. So I think, of course, we're trying to keep the natural aesthetic of the band that we've always had.
Yeah.
Because that's why people like us and that's who we are. But of course, you try some things out and grow a little bit, and I think we've done that a little bit, and maybe that's what you're referring to.
Right.
But it was no intention to make a commercial album with
think-
hit singles and such
I think
aspects.
some elements of it were that. I think there's a few songs where we tried to do that hit single commercial thing, and it's just to try something different. Like we wanted to see what we could do. How far can we push it? Like how far are we willing to go? Did we go too far? How far is far too far? How far is not far enough? So we just tried to take advantage of all that we could do. Rather than limit ourselves, and then in the next record we'll limit ourselves.
Yeah.
I think on the most part, though, the album is pretty classic Monster Truck sounding. Most of the songs are the style that fans are used to. I think some people who are very quick with their keyboard fingers like to say they might not like one song or another, but I think if they're a true Monster Truck fan and they listen to the whole record, I think they will be satisfied.
Of course, it's a great album. Of course it is. Dee Snider, I guess he's the singer of the first song, True Rockers, or how did it come to this collaboration?
He was just found out about us. He was in Toronto doing a play, a Christmas play, and he was going to a juice bar in the morning, and they were playing our music. So he found out about us, and then he contacted me on Twitter, and then we started talking. And then he's just a really big fan. He likes what we're doing because, like you said, I mean, we're just bare bones, authentic rock and roll, and that's what he likes. So, he's been really kind and given me some guidance and really kind of was a great guy. And I called him up when we wrote the song, and I'm like, do you want to do this? He said, sure. So it's pretty easy. He recorded it in his studio in LA, I think, and sent it over. We put it on the album, and that's his history, right?
Easy today, no?
Yeah, very easy. No flights.
Yeah, it's true. And what are the characteristics of a true rocker or true rock music for you? What are the marks of true rockers?
I think that's for everyone to figure out for themselves. I think the way we wanted it is to interpret it the way you feel.
Yeah.
It was more of a song of more empowering people to be themselves, and that's kind of more the message. The true rocker thing's just kitschy. It's like AC/DC, right? It's that kind of thing, but that's kind of what we are. I mean, our band is called Monster Truck. I mean, you have to have that aspect in there. So I think the whole true rocker thing was just to put a label on, but it's really about being an individual and doing what you feel is right and sticking to, your guns and really being proud of who you are.
And why is being cool over? Is it being cool over for a true rocker? Is a true rocker not being cool anymore? Or how would you see it?
Kind of it. You nailed it kind of on the head. It was just, I don't know, I was just in one of those moods where everything I looked at that was cool now, I was like, well, it's nothing that I like. So does that mean that nothing I like is cool anymore? So that's basically where it came from. It's just, for me, I'm getting older, and as you get older, things become less cool, right? It's like no one likes what their dad likes until they become their dad.
Yeah. And I guess I saw it on your Facebook thread. I guess the new album was recorded shortly after you finished the tour with Deep Purple.
Right.
So, but it was released 1 year later, is that right?
Yes.
1 year after it was. Why that? That's unusual, or business aspects, or
Definitely business aspects. It's the last album that's in our record contract, and so in negotiating and new deals, we hadn't figured out a deal or a release date before the Christmas season hit last year, and so that always delays things in the music industry. So by the time we started to come around to figuring things out again, and we're still trying to work out the next album deal. So those things always hold it back. But by the time that happened, we had written a few more songs, and so we decided to delay it to record those songs and put them on it. We were looking at a springtime, late spring release, and then it got pushed back to September. So
Yeah.
it's you really only can release albums in the spring or the fall.
Yeah, of
and
course.
if you miss one of those windows, it pushes it
Because
out.
summer is not good, I guess.
Right.
Kind
Because
of.
they make holiday and
Right.
So it could have been a year, but then it gets pushed back to the next season and it turns into a year and a half. So that's just how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it works faster than that. Sometimes it doesn't.
And Mascot, it's a great label. So won't they work with you together anymore?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
It's not. We're not on our last thing with them. We're not with our Canadian
Yeah.
label that we recently signed to.
Yeah.
But we have to renegotiate the deal with them. So it's
Yeah.
it's business things, yes.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
business. Lawyers, expensive.
But we've also learned that we don't want to be at home that long anymore.
Yes.
It was a
yeah.
good lesson for us to take such a long time.
So it's no problem for you to leave family and kids and friends.
We kind of have to. This is our job. So if we don't do this, we don't make any money.
Yeah, of course.
So it's kind of one of those things where, you get with the bad.
You have to learn to live with it. That's
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still fun if you see it.
Which is still, yeah, it's great.
yes, of course.
Great.
We're lucky,
Yeah.
very lucky people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and you're existing since 2009, so you've never had a change in line-up. So what is your recipe for this stability? What?
I think it's because we all made a conscious decision to do it. I think the reason we can stay together is because we all have the same goal and we set out and we made it the goal from the beginning. When we decided to take it seriously, we all sat down and said, are we going to do this together? No matter what, see this through or whatever. No, maybe not no matter what, but we're all going to work towards the same goal. And we all decided on that. And I think that it's still maintained. And when push comes to shove, everyone just wants what's best for each other and to build a business. So I think that realization really helps us stay as a unit. And also, like, why wouldn't you? I don't know, they get it pretty good, and they're all buddies, so it's like whatever.
I think we all bring different elements together, and then the way that those came together, and then when we were deciding what our band sounds like and how we act and the kind of shows we want to play or the tours we want to do, and just the way that you develop the concept of your band, we kind of did that all together, and that's why we've all come together. And I don't know, I think we all realize it in a similar way, and that's why we're able to do it. And we're all very involved in, figuring out where we are now and where we want to go and how are we going to get there. So there's no real surprises too much for anyone. So it is a very collaborative effort. And it's a lot of work, so we need each other to do all this work and keep on playing rock and roll.
But ego is a terrible thing.
We learned that we at least we defined that
Yes,
early.
exactly.
We would see some bands maybe that we toured with or something. You see how ego causes problems in these bands, so we were always trying to be aware of
Stay humble.
how that might affect us.
And if you see the Canadian music scene, there were great bands. Yeah, but now I guess Rush are not existing anymore. Saga, okay, it's not your type of music, but they don't exist anymore.
Right.
April Wine, I guess, just the many. How would you see your country, the music scene in Canada? How would you describe your music scene? Is it
I think it's
today rock scene?
It's great. Well, the rock scenes, there's a bunch of rock bands still. It's great. It's always been healthy in Canada. Right now, there's a Hamilton band from our city played last night here, and then a month ago another band from our city played at Molotov. So like, it's healthy, very healthy.
Yeah.
And I think we from our town's one a pretty big one for it. There's at least 5 or 6 touring acts that are worldwide touring acts from our city alone. So but they're all different genres. Like it's not the same. It's not like there's a bunch of rock bands. Like basically we're the rock band. We fit that part. Then there's a singer songwriter, and then, you know what I mean. And that's the pop band and the punk band. But like it's really healthy. It's always been really healthy in Canada. We have government funding and really encouraging of the arts because we have such a small population. We need to be able to compete on a world stage, and that's one way to do it is to give people money to do their art. So I think,
good,
I also think that because you have a good scene of bands who are going out there and doing it, it teaches all the younger bands coming up how to do it, and it raises the caliber for everybody across the board. And we're lucky that that's kind of how things are in Canada. Now the genres and the styles of music might change a little bit here and there, but April Wine still plays festivals across the summer.
That's the April Wine last summer.
I think does Triumph still play?
Triumph still plays.
Triumph, it's still existing. I guess.
Helix, maybe.
Saga plays once in a while. Like these bands are still kind of around. Like Helix still tours.
I like all these bands. I'm a very huge Rush fan. I guess it's not your type of music.
Oh, Rush is great.
And but it's disappointing to see all these great bands to disappear. So that's
but I think it's also encouraging because there's a lot of bands coming up, and I think for the new bands to have an audience, the old bands kind of have to go away. You know what I mean? Because no one will come to our shows. They're paying all this money to see Rush. They're not going to have enough money to support young bands coming up. And really, there is a band from Canada too you might like. They're called Crownlands. They kind of have a Rush vibe, but they're a little bluesy. They're really huge Rush fans, so you might like them. But there's a lot of positivity. I think with out with the old and in with the new. I think is kind of the new mentality, and it's good. It's healthy.
I think though there's a reason you don't see some of those old Canadian rock bands. I think those guys have probably made a good living throughout their career, so they don't really need that much money to live still, and so they can get that from playing Canadian summer festivals. And so probably over the years they've kind of lost their fan base over here. Maybe you could tell me differently, but I think Rush, of course, that's a different story, but the smaller ones, like, it might be hard for them to come over and to have a profitable tour here. I don't know how many people those guys could draw. I don't know what. But it would be hard. To build an audience here takes a lot of work, as we're learning. We're still 5 years later and still working hard to build an audience in Europe because we think it's a very important thing for our lives and for the life of the band. So
is it easier to build your connection to your fans in Canada or to the fans in the United States? Is it easier than?
It's all kind of the same. It's all you got to give it. If you're willing to put the work in, people will give it back to you. If you're not willing to go there and give it your all, they're not going to give you anything back. So I think that's the key. I think the key is if you're out there and you're sincere and you believe in what you're doing, and it's gonna be all right. People are gonna want to see it, and whatever language you're speaking, it doesn't matter. We play places where no one understands a word I'm saying, but it doesn't matter.
Yes, these were my questions. So do you have further information to your fans? Something unmentioned?
Well, we are planning a tour, so hopefully we're going to come back and be doing headline shows in UK and Europe in April and May of next year, and then who knows after that.
It doesn't announce on December 10th, so there'll be a formal thing.
We're still organizing it, but be watching because we're planning that.
And then just thank you for liking our band, and hopefully we continue to make a product that you enjoy.
And the next album, and will it be in 1 year?
Probably, hopefully. We're planning on being that long, but things are things.
Yeah.
But we're already working on writing it, and I think we're in a really good spot, and I'm really excited about the songs we're writing now. I think they're going to be the best ones we've done yet.
So you have got enough songs for a new album, or nearly enough songs today for the next album?
We're getting there.
We have so many, especially if we would look. We have so many old riffs piled up. These guys are always coming up with them, and we'll listen. Hey, that's great, and then we'll forget about it. But I bet if we really looked hard, we could find 2 albums worth of stuff already. But it's a good situation.
Yeah. We don't necessarily ever have a problem writing.
Okay, fantastic.
I think we just have to be smarter about which songs we choose for the next one.
Yeah.
It's not about writing them; it's about choosing which ones are the best ones.
That's
I think.
huge problem.
Hey, I think that's a better problem than not being able to write them.
Yeah, of course.
Better to have too many.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much
Oh,
for
thank
this
you.
nice interview.